Hey guys, today we are going to start day 2 of dividing with polynomials. Only today we're going to have remainders. Now before I begin, I just want to tell you that my dog is barking. And so if my dog is barking, I might have to deal with it, and I apologize ahead of time for that. He's only 10 months old and doesn't have very good manners yet. So let's get started. First off, let me bring you back to elementary school. Remember when you had a problem like this, 15 divided by 2? You'd say, let's say 2 goes into 1 0 times, 2 goes into 15 7 times, and then you'd go 7 times 2 is 14, and then you'd have a remainder. Now, in middle school, pretty much every time we've told you add a decimal and add a 0 and keep going, or put it in your calculator or whatever. But back in the day when you first learned how to do this, you would turn this into a mixed number. You would take your remainder. Well, first you just left it as a remainder, but then as you got smarter, I don't know what grade that would have been, 5th or 6th grade, and you would take your remainder and you would put it as a numerator. Oh my goodness. You would take your denominator. Let's say you would take your remainder and you'd put it as a numerator, and then the denominator would be whatever the divisor is. So that would be your answer, 7 1/2. Can you remember doing that? I don't know if you do. I hope you do, because it will help you kind of in the thinking of what we're about to do. So to begin with, we're going to take a monomial. Remember, that is one term, and we're going to divide it into a binomial or trinomial, which is a polynomial. Isn't this fun? Okay, let's get going. So let's see. The first one says 16m plus 28. That is my binomial, and I'm going to divide it by 4m. That is my monomial. Now remember, whether you have a binomial or trinomial or whatever nomial you have, just look at the first term. So the first term is 16m. 4m goes into 16m how many times? The better way to think of it might be to say 4m times what is 16m? 4. All right, 4. I'm going to put the 4 over the 28 because they are like terms. Don't forget that part. They're like terms, so that is where it goes. And then we go back to 4 times 4m. Well, that's 16m. And when I subtract it, I get 0, so I'm not going to put the 0 there. I'm just going to go ahead and bring the 28 down. 4m doesn't go into 28 wholly. So that is my remainder. So it's a positive 28. So I'm going to put positive 28 over 4m. Okay, let's look at the 28 and let's look at the 4. You can simplify that. 28 over 4 is 7. So we're not done yet. I'm going to go ahead and simplify it. It would be 4 plus 7 over m, because I simplified 28 over 4 and I got 7 over 1. That's where the 7 over m came from. Let's keep going. This time I have a trinomial. And so I'm going to put the trinomial in the division house. I'm going to put the 3b on the outside. I'm only going to look at the first term of the trinomial. Don't look at the whole thing. It'll freak you out. 3b, instead of saying 3b goes into 3b squared how many times, think 3b times what is 3b squared? You are correct. The answer is b. If I multiply 3b times b, I get 3b squared. So again, remember 3b, I'm going to multiply it, I get 3b squared. And that basically just got rid of that. I'll bring the 12b down. All right, I'm only going to look at the leading term, 3b. 3b times what is 12b? 4. So again, if I put it over the 14, those are like terms. 4 times 3b is 12b. I bring down the negative 14, and guess what? 3b doesn't go into negative 14. That is my remainder. So I will make that as Remember, it's negative 14. I will make that as my remainder. But I have to put the divisor underneath it. So let me look at the 14 and the 3. I can't simplify those at all. So let me just write as my answer. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to write as my answer b plus 4 minus 14 over 3b. Are you having fun yet? Now remember, this is a monomial going into a trinomial or a polynomial. Okay, let's look at, I'm going to go ahead and skip this one. Let's look at taking a binomial and putting it into a polynomial, because this is where it gets kind of interesting. Yikes. Okay, I'm going to put the x squared plus 9x plus 20 in the division house. I'm going to put the x plus 4 outside. Okay, don't freak out. Just look at the very first term of the number that's dividing in, the divisor, and look at the first term of the dividend, which is a number inside the house. And say, instead of saying how many times does x go into x squared, say x times what is x squared? X times x. I'm going to put it over the 9x because those are common terms or like terms. All right, and going back, x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Okay, that wasn't too painful. Subtract the whole thing, which changes all the terms. 9x minus 4x is 5x, and these canceled. Bring down the 20. Oops, let me go ahead and fill this in. How many times will x go into x squared? It will go into an x times. So I'm going to multiply the quotient of x back to both terms. This is kind of a step-by-step thing here. Okay, now I'm only going to look at the first term of the divisor and the dividend. X goes into 5, or x times what is 5x? That's easier, the way to think of it that way. 5. X times 5 is 5x. So I'm going to put the 5 here. It's a positive 5. I'm going to put it over the 20 because those are like terms. And then I'm going to go back to going 5 times x is 5x. Here's the new part. 5 times the 4 is 20. All right, when I subtract, remember it changes. Oh my goodness, what is that? I don't know what that is. When it did that, I apologize. Okay. This is minus 20. 5 times x is plus 20. But when I subtract it, it changes all these signs and this zeroes out. So technically, there's not a remainder on here, but at least you had a reminder of how to divide a trinomial by a binomial. It says how many times, let's look at number 5. How many times will x go back into 5x? 5 times. Multiply the quotient of I don't know what this is saying. Multiply the quotient of something back of 5 back to both the terms and divisor. Okay, let's move on. All right, the first one, remember, goes in the house. 8g plus 5 over 2g plus 1. Only look at the first term. That's it. Only look at the first term. So I'm going to look at the 2g and say 2g times what is negative 8g. The answer to that is negative 4. So I'm going to put the negative 4 over the 5. Why? Because they're like terms. All right, going back. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8g. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Ooh, this is getting fun. All right, I'm going to subtract. It changes all the signs. This becomes positive. This becomes positive. So this is now a 9. These canceled. All right. 9 is a remainder. So I'm going to put 9. It is a positive 9. So I'm going to put 9 as a positive 9. I'm going to put it over 2g plus 1. Now, there's no way anymore to simplify that, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it as negative 4 plus 9 over 2g plus 1. So fun. Let's do another one. H squared plus 9h plus 18 over, or divided by, h plus 3. Okay, only look at the first term. Look at the first term of the divisor and the dividend. Just look at the first term. H goes into h squared, or h times what is h squared? H. All right, I'm going to put that over the 9, because the 9h, because those are like terms. H times h is h squared. H times 3 is plus 3. Now, when I subtract it, it changes all the signs. These will cancel, and this will become 6h plus 18. All right. Going back to the h. H goes into 6h, or h times what is 6h? H times 6. I'm going to put a 6 there. It's a positive 6. And I'm going to go all the way back here. 6 times h is 6h. 6 times 3 is 18. Well, lo and behold, there is not a remainder on that one. So my answer is h plus 6. All right. We're going to do one more, and then I'm going to quit. 3x squared plus 9x minus 15. Now, I'm going to recommend to you that you pause the video right now. And I recommend that you go ahead and work it out. Work it out and then turn it back on. Pause right now. Okay, back at you. Here we go. X goes into 3x squared 3x times. 3x times 3 times x is 3x squared. 3x times 5 is plus 15x. If I subtract all this, I end up with a negative 6x minus 15. Okay. X goes into negative 6x negative 6 times. Coming back. Negative 6x minus 30. Remember, changing everything. So this is now a positive 15. Done, because x doesn't go into 15. So I end up with a 3x minus 6. That is a positive 15. And I put it over the divisor of x plus 5. Woohoo! We're done. Good luck. Ask questions if you need it. See you later. Bye-bye.